Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 848. Bad weather, worst play calling, and terrible officiating. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Long time no speak.
Yeah. Getting
Feels
ready
like
for
we
my
just
big
discussed the games.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for my big day tomorrow. I told you in a group text, or a group chat. Tomorrow's the start of my paddle career, or padel, I guess, if I need to add the proper accent. So was preparing my bag for
I've inspired you.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast will eventually evolve just into you telling pickleball stories and me telling paddle stories. It will be just what the listeners want.
I look forward to the opportunity where we can compete in the tournament together, you in paddle and me in pickleball, like a dual tournament.
Yeah,
So
tomorrow's
what
interesting.
does this journey entail?
So tomorrow it's at the club I'm a member at. The first thing I have to do is go through an evaluation with
Awesome.
the like coach of the team, I guess. And this is just to assess my level because I've never played and I have no type of ranking. It's basically for him to then suggest like who I start playing with. And so I kind of lied because I've never played paddle at all. Never hit a ball in my life. And he asked, like, have you ever played? And I felt like if I said no, my confidence in myself, given my tennis background, is higher. So I said, I've played a little bit with friends, but I've never played competitively.
But did you say I played competitive tennis for a while, but I've only played I would have said I've played competitive tennis for a long time growing up, but only played paddle a few times with friends.
I said I played a lot of tennis.
Okay.
And I've only played paddle a couple times with friends, never competitively.
Okay.
But and then I felt like, because he's like, oh, you can turn up, you can rent your racket at the pro shop. I was like, no, I have my own racket. Don't.
Fuck off, man. I've got 4.
Yeah, I have already overly invested in this hobby. That's fine.
So tomorrow you get evaluated, and then is he going to give you like a score, like a scoring, like kind of how you were in like the rankings for like tennis and pickleball?
I think every week there's probably people trying to join. And so I think you're in a group of people who are all being simultaneously evaluated. So you just sort of play some points against each other. And then he's kind of observing. It's an hour-long process.
Okay.
And then
do you know the
from
rules?
there, the rules are basically the same as tennis. It's actually a lot easier than pickleball in terms of entering it. So the scoring is exactly like tennis, the 15 love, 30. You win a game. It's a set.
Okay. But do you have to, my question I always, when I watch the videos is, do you have to hit the court first?
Yeah. So it has to land. It can't hit one of the walls first. It has to bounce on the court. I mean, someone could be volleying, but in terms of if it was going to hit a wall, if you were at the net volleying, you would want to leave it if you thought it was going to hit a wall before it was going to hit. And I think there's obviously those crazy videos of people like running outside of the court to hit the ball back in and stuff. I think that's not always allowed. I think that's a little bit
Can you do
dependent.
that in this evaluation? Even if it's not necessary, can you just like pretend to like run out the court and then it'll be like, what happened? Like, oh, I thought I was going to go out. I was ready to hit it. I'm like, sir, it wasn't even close to bouncing out.
I think the chances of that becoming one of the things I do is highly unlikely.
I want you just to do it on like a random shot, like one that's not even close. It'd be like, oh, I just anticipated it to be going out.
Yeah. I think most of the time I'm going to accept defeat if the person has smacked the ball out of the court. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how it goes. But yeah, no, overall the rules seem pretty straightforward.
So what if, all right, so how about this? How about if I like return a serve and it hits the court, then hits the back and then comes back to me?
Oh, back over to your side?
Yeah.
Then you would win. if you could hit the ball so hard that like it comes back onto your court and the other person hasn't touched it, you win. That's actually
Oh,
one of the I've been watching some videos to get like up to speed on supposedly some of the walls. It depends on like the walls of the court are actually sort of hard enough that that's theoretically possible, but
like
that's
if you
very,
slammed
very
it, right? Like if you just gave
yeah.
like a fucking overhand slam.
Yeah, but most of the time it's not possible, but like
Oh, okay.
on some
Oh,
courts it
that's
might
weird.
be.
Maybe I just don't know what the ball feels like either.
It's kinda
Maybe I
like a
feel like it
tennis ball.
bounces more. Okay, maybe I'm thinking it's more like a squash ball, like it's more bouncy.
No, it's like a tennis ball with a little bit less pressure in it, basically.
Okay.
But I've been watching. I've watched videos that are specifically starting to play as a tennis player. There's a lot of those
Okay.
videos, so I know that the big thing is I've got to use the walls, and supposedly tennis players like don't, particularly the back wall of sort of if the ball's going past you, let it hit the wall, let it then be coming back in your direction, and then hit with the bounce. And that if you do that, it's a
Yeah.
lot easier. I'm sure that takes way more getting used to than the YouTube video has made me think it is. But I'm at least going to be aware of the fact that I can let the ball go by me and then play it again. But we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be kind of confusing. Can you all right, how about this one? Say I guess that's probably difficult in what you're saying for the ball to travel that far, but like, can you hit against oh, no, you can't. Never mind. You just
Yeah,
hit
you can. I could hit against my own wall if that's what you're
oh,
getting
you hit
at.
against your own wall. Okay, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't hit the opponent's wall first, but you can hit
You could hit your
against
own
your
wall.
wall to get it over.
Yeah. So it
Oh,
is kind of
that's crazy.
squash
No
like.
way. No, wait. No way you can do that.
Yes.
So for
Yes.
instance, wait. So like the ball comes over to my side, and instead of just hitting it straight on, I hit like diagonal off of my side of the wall and then
Yeah.
back over. That's
Yes.
fine.
That's fine.
Oh my god, it's like fucking air hockey.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a kind of squash element to it. So yeah, like say I was lobbed, and that the best way then for me is to hit it. I kind of keep the ball going that way. I could hit it against my back wall, sort of
Yeah,
go over my head to get back and play. That you can do. Yeah, that's fine.
back and side walls too.
And so
Then
any
wow.
combination of your own walls. Yeah, it's
So is
just
there
it's
a
then
line that
kind
goes
of.
all the way up the wall to like distinguish that you hit it on your
Uh,
side?
oh, you mean as to whether the first point of contact was on your side versus their side, wall wise?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's just a judgment call.
Oh, those fuckers will call that
I
all
think
day.
that's a pretty rare. I think it's pretty unusual to be having to deal with that type of specific rule calling. But who knows? We'll get on to probably some intricacies of rule interpretation as we discuss the NFC and AFC championship games because those did reveal the fact, as the NFL does on an almost weekly basis, that lots of calls are entirely up to the interpretation of the officials. So maybe I'll have the
Yep.
same experience in paddle. But before we get on to that, and staying in the world of racket sports, no major Australian Open updates to give you, but you gave me a whoop, which I've yet to use. I'm going to start using it now as I get the paddle career going.
Amazing. I hope the first one's like heart attack? Question mark? Question
Yeah.
mark?
So that's going to be, I'm breaking that out tomorrow.
Awesome. Is it charged
I don't
up?
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
don't know if you saw, but Carlos Alcaraz was wearing a whoop yesterday, and the umpire told him to take it off in tennis, which is the second
Wow.
time this Australian Open that a player, I think Sabalenka, was also wearing a whoop and was told to remove it because
They're anti-whoop.
basically they're sort of collecting live data that you could theoretically be using for your own advantage over the course of a match. So, yeah.
That's stupid.
So, yeah, Sinner, Alcaraz, and Sabalenka have all been ordered to remove whoops so far this tournament. Sabalenka actually has a sponsorship deal with Whoop. Supposedly, this is specific to Grand Slams, so it's not a ATP and WTA position, which is probably why they're used to wearing them because they do in most tournaments.
Yeah.
And the reasoning basically is that their position is that they gives them access to 360 degrees worth of data and on certain elements that they believe give a player wearing the whoop an advantage in terms of load management and other areas.
how it just tells. I mean, maybe it just gives you a number to how like tired and stressful that activity is. But like at the end of the day, I don't think that's really an advantage. Like how you feel. I've never looked at it and been like, "Wow, that was that stressful." I didn't feel that stress. Like you feel it. You know what it's like. It's just putting a number to that feeling. So
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of advantage that gives you other than knowing.
So what they think, I guess the reason is they don't like that it would give one player an advantage when it comes to recovery ahead of another match. I think that's their argument. And Sinner's response to that was, quote, "There is certain data we would like to track a little bit on court. It's not for the live thing. It's about what you can see after the match. These are datas we would like to also use in practice sessions because from that you can practice on with the heart rate, how much calories you burn, all these
Yeah.
kinds of things." Sinner then added he was not planning to use the data to help his recovery before the quarterfinals, which
But you
that
can't
bit
help with
seems
recovery. Like, like, I mean, it'll tell you like you are this much stressed. You need to get to sleep by this time. Like it'll tell you that. But at the end of the day, again, like you're probably in a routine where you're going to bed at those times anyway. Like it wouldn't be as if you it
well,
was like
you wouldn't be in tennis because they'll be dealing with, and this is one of those things tennis players always complain about, right? But like you may play a match on Tuesday
a short turnaround.
where the match starts at noon, and then the next time you're playing the late night game on Thursday. And so I suppose the argument is maybe it helps you. Again, it seems like a minor thing. I'm sure they'll end up legalizing it, but for
Yeah.
now, they're not. I can understand that with technology, you have to move carefully as to what you approve and what you don't approve. But uh, yeah.
Let
Whoop
the whoop.
released a statement saying that Whoop believes athletes have a fundamental right to understand their own performance and health, including during
Hell yeah, whoop.
competition.
Damn
Whoop is,
right,
a,
whoop.
Whoop is approved by International Tennis Federation for in-match wear and poses no safety, fairness, or competitive risk. Blocking access to personal health data does not protect sport. Whoop will continue to stand with athletes and our members to defend their right to data.
What a fucking company. What a fucking statement. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
order another one. I'm gonna wear them on both fucking wrists now.
Start wearing them as like ankles bracelets. Just have 4 on.
You know what? I'm gonna pay for your whole year now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's quite the upgrade from when I initially just got the thing without a bracelet that I could have tied around myself using Scotch tape. All right. On that note, should we move on to the AFC and NFC championship games?
Yeah, I just have a real quick non-playoff story. I don't know if you saw this just got released right before we recorded that due to injuries, Shador Sanders has been added to the Pro Bowl. That is absolutely unbelievably the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. And you can now and I know you never liked the Pro Bowl to begin with as like an argument of like he's made so many Pro Bowls, but now it's thrown all legitimacy out the window. Like there is in no planet should he be in the Pro Bowl. I just want to throw a few things out and then obviously you can jump in. He ranks, I think it was, I'm going to pull it up now, 19th out of 20th in AFC quarterbacks in passer rating, and he is dead last in QBR rating out of all AFC quarterbacks. He was picked over Bo Nix, who's injured, so we'll say he just didn't get picked because he's injured. Trevor Lawrence, who was not injured. Patrick Mahomes, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, who maybe is injured, okay, CJ Stroud, Geno Smith, Tua, Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, and Joe Burrow. You cannot make a case for him against any of them. And even
Well,
Cam Ward, who's also a rookie, has so much better numbers and than he did. Like it's crazy.
look, I agree that Shador. I mean, he's been added as a backup, right? That's his status at the moment. It's just that he's
Well, he's
likely
not the
to
starter.
right, and he's likely to be involved. But the one thing I will say is, you don't know that those other players didn't turn down the possibility of going to the Pro Bowl. So it's not that he's been
Yes.
picked over them. We don't know what the process was like. We don't know that they didn't say, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes, do you wanna go to the Pro Bowl?" And he said, "I have 0 interest in going to the Pro Bowl."
You're right, you're right. You don't know that, and they all could have done that. But if that's the case, then I think you don't do a Pro Bowl anymore. Like, I don't understand what the point is in having literally the worst rated quarterback in the conference be the representative for a game that's supposed to highlight the best players in the conference. It's the most counterintuitive thing to ever have.
So, there is some historical Tyler Huntley in 2023 was, made it to the Pro Bowl, even though he only started 4 games. So that's a pretty strong parallel to the situation that Shedeur Sanders finds himself in. Mac Jones was also a rookie alternate after his 2022 season. So he had a much better rookie season than Sanders did, but
Yeah.
similar to Shedeur, was only making it because there were injuries and other players declined. Derek Carr made the Pro Bowl in 2023, even though he'd actually been benched by the end of the season by the Raiders. So he was no longer a starting quarterback in the NFL, but was called up to the Pro Bowl anyway. And Trevor Lawrence in 2023 was also the first alternate that got called up after Patrick Mahomes made it to the Super Bowl. So there's, recent seasons, there's been a few players who you'd say probably didn't deserve to be there. I think the difference between all of them, and this is where Shedeur Sanders is a slightly different case, is that this will be kind of weaponized by Shedeur Sanders supporters in a way that Tyler Huntley's Pro Bowl history or Mac Jones's Pro Bowl history hasn't been so far. And so that the argument now will be the Browns have to start him. He's a Pro Bowler. Or when his contract negotiation comes up, oh, yeah, but he's already made a Pro Bowl on his rookie deal. That's the bit of it that I think, as long as people are honest as to what Pro Bowl means and that it's not like an all pro status, which is much more representative of, being the best. That's the only thing. Other than that, I don't
Yeah.
really care.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't care because you don't care about the Pro Bowl, but I think it is important when you are comparing people that, all-star games should be an indication that you were an all-star. I think what they should do is they should just announce who the Pro Bowlers are, and if they don't make it, they don't make it, and you don't replace them. Like, I think or if you replace them, they're not considered a Pro Bowler. They're just a replacement because this will go down as now he is a Pro Bowler, and that means he is one of the best players of that year, and that's just not correct. I mean,
Well,
just to
do people think
what?
that? Do people
Yeah,
think when
I
you
think
say,
so. Any other sport, I think so. I think if you make the NHL All-Star game, that means you were one of the best players for that year in
yeah,
in
but
your in your sport.
But but the setup with the Pro Bowl is unique in terms of when the NFL positions it. And like I said, I don't think anyone would say in 2023 Derek Carr was one of the best quarterbacks, or in 2023 Tyler Huntley was one of the best quarterbacks. So we know that doesn't necessarily get interpreted in that way. I mean, I can't even tell you I don't know who's playing in the Pro Bowl, to be honest with you. Who are the starting running backs in the Pro Bowl? I've got no clue.
I don't know. Probably Kyler Juszczyk, though. He's probably the starting fullback.
Kyler?
Kyle Juszczyk.
So I don't know, to be honest. And I think the reality is, if the NFL, what it really should look at is if there's a frequency of this many people passing on the Pro Bowl, then something has to be changed. Because it should be
Yeah.
something, if it's not something that players want to take part in, then it doesn't need to exist. And so that's
I mean,
the big thing.
I don't know why he was chosen over Dylan Gabriel. Like,
Well, that would be. I mean, that's going to the comparison with Derek Carr. I do think you kind of need to be at least the starter for your team at the end of the season. Otherwise, it's even more of a farce. Like, Philip Rivers can't be called up.
I would have taken Philip Rivers over Shedeur
I know you
Sanders.
would have. You probably wouldn't. We wouldn't have even discussed this. You would have said that's fine. Philip Rivers deserves an honorary Pro Bowl appearance. But yeah, I don't. Yeah. It doesn't bother me much because I do think the Pro Bowl is a joke anyway. It's just what will frustrate me is I'm prepared for next season to listen to some player argue that Shedeur Sanders deserves to keep his job because last year he was a Pro Bowler.
He's a Pro
That's the
Bowler.
only part of it that will annoy me. But
Yeah. It's so
but
dumb.
but I can't preempt my annoyance. That's that's kind of stupid too.
But I guess real quick, my other thing though is like, at what point do you stop? Because say everyone keeps declining. At what point do you say like this is past the point of what the Pro Bowl represents? Like for instance, let's say Shedeur Sanders declines it. Then do you go to Dylan Gabriel and say like, "Hey, you're the last fucking QB that we can actually pick that played more than 3 games this season?" Like, do you go to Phillip Rivers? Like at what point do you just say like, "Okay, we can't fill this spot. We're not going to ask someone who started 1 game and had 6 interceptions." Do you know what I mean? Like, because this had to have been, unless it was a ploy, which is even more annoying if the NFL did this on purpose to like create a controversy. I agree with you. I think it was almost everyone else just declined because they didn't want to bother. So at what point, how many declines does it take before you say this is dumb? Like this person doesn't actually deserve to be representing what we think, even though it doesn't, the Pro Bowl is supposed to represent.
Yeah, I mean, the Pro Bowl's conceptually always been stupid because of the fact that I don't know what the Pro Bowl is supposed to represent because it isn't an MVP game like other sports because of its positioning within the schedule. And the fact that it takes place the week before the Super Bowl, and so therefore every super player who plays in the Super Bowl is immediately excluded from participation is
Yeah.
dumb. And then on top of it, oftentimes just lots of players who played in the playoffs want to be done with their season. So you kind of eliminating most of the players who should be there on merit just because of when you position the game. So I think I don't know. I don't know what the Pro Bowl exists for. I think, as we've discussed about other sports, I guess the NFL would probably say it's some kind of celebration of the NFL more than it is a traditional all-star game. And I guess if they started to really openly speak about it in that way, then who cares if it's Shedeur Sanders playing? He may be. You could make the argument that Shedeur Sanders is probably going to be more fun to watch in a Pro Bowl game than Trevor Lawrence would be. Like, because in a sense, the way Shedeur Sanders plays lends itself more to being at least entertaining. It might be terrible. It might be him. Like when he takes a 19-yard sack in a Pro Bowl, that's going to be quite impressive.
They don't even do games, or they just do flag football.
No, they still don't. They still do the.
I don't know if they actually play a game anymore.
That's true. I don't even that says it all, right? I don't even know what the
Yeah.
I know they do the skill-based challenges and stuff, and they do that weird team skill-based challenge where they like pull a truck or whatever it is they do at some moment in time, and a former NFL player runs alongside them, encouraging them. It's stupid. I don't know. I would immediately lose respect for anyone I know if they told me they were attending the Pro Bowl. I can tell you that much. Right, but because I think the other mistake they made is players seem to like in the past when it was always in Hawaii, players at least enjoyed that. The kind of break
Yeah.
to Hawaii and it was fun and the events that surrounded it. But now that they don't even do that anymore, there's even less reason for players to go. The only thing I hope is that there's not people putting incentives into players' contracts about if you're a Pro Bowler, we give you a bonus, and that the Cleveland Browns are now paying Shedeur Sanders like $100,000 more because he somehow
He
is going to
probably
get
has
to
it
him.
now. He has to be the starter next year. If named as Pro Bowler, he's
Yes,
automatically
wouldn't
starter next year.
wouldn't surprise me with the Browns. But okay, moving on to the football that actually mattered. Let's start, I guess, with the AFC Championship game, the Snow Bowl that took place in Denver, which had the New England Patriots squeaking by the Denver Broncos in a game that in the second half basically had no offense. It was just two teams punting the ball back and forth.
Well, you had the opening drive. The conditions were still okay, and that
Yeah.
was the opening drive that they drove down and kicked the field goal. It
Mhm.
started to get a little bad. And then the Pats had the next possession. They had the flea flicker, and that was really the last I'm going to say the last varsity level play in the entire game. After that, it was 50 yards for the next 8 possessions total, 50 yards total. It was unplayable.
Yeah, and this is where we kind of disagree. I thought it was sort of fun to watch.
Oh, God.
I will say in an AFC championship game or an NFC championship game, that might be a little much. Like at the point at which
coming over to my side.
I'm not really
Feels
coming
good
over
to
to yours.
have you here, Eddie. It feels good. Welcome. We're so welcoming of you.
The only thing I'll say is this. As I feel like whoever won that game is going to lose in the Super Bowl anyway. And because I think in the end the better team did win, given the quarterback situation, it doesn't bother me too much. And the fact that it probably just saved us from watching Stidham it sort of implode over the course of that second half, which is, I think, the trajectory we were on, even if the weather had been fine, is we got two good drives out of him. And then I think the wheels were coming off. And I think it's good news for him that he can probably mostly blame that on the weather. Whereas had the conditions stayed as they were in the first half, I think this game would have ended up being 30-13. And it would have been, I don't know how many more yards of offense the Denver Broncos may necessarily have had. But I still thought it was fun. Like, it was enjoyable to watch. The only thing that disappointed me about it was actually that both teams were so conservative in their play calling that the game itself, like the snow didn't turn it into any kind of crazy outcome. You had the one play where both Stevenson and May slipped. That was fun to watch. Oh, I'm supposed to hand it off to my running back. No, he just fell over. Oh, I guess I'll run with it. No, I've just fallen over. It's a sack. That was enjoyable. I love that play. That's to me, it's a Patriots highlight play of the season. But I wanted more fumbles or something funny to happen, and none of that happened.
I think the problem was the conditions were actually so bad that they couldn't do anything, that they resigned to literally just saying, like, we're going to snap it. I'm going to turn, give you the ball, and you just run straight. Like, just fall down if you have to. Like, I genuinely think the conditions were too bad. And I agree with you. Had they just been a little less windy, I think the wind was so strong that no one could do anything. And I think if it were just snowing and not as like crazy blizzardy conditions, I think they do attempt to do more stuff. And maybe you get more of the like, oops, the ball slipped out of my hands and right into a defender kind of thing. But it looked like the Patriots literally were like, we're just going to run straight every time now. We've got the lead. We're just running straight every time.
Yeah,
except
then that's
the
fine.
last play when May kept it.
Yeah, but I think that shows you that what you're saying is correct in terms of how they were calling plays. But like the Broncos could have been a bit more adventurous in terms of how they were designing some of their runs as well. And the bootleg with May picking up 10 yards was an indication of, like, for both these teams, why were you not using your quarter? And I mean, in the end, the Patriots actually relied on Drake May picking up yards on the ground quite a lot.
Yeah.
The biggest argument for why the Broncos then missed Bo Nix is he would have been a much bigger threat running with the ball. And again, coming to would they have won with Bo Nix? I think they probably would have.
I think they win. I think they're up 17-0 at half, and I think it's over. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm pretty genuine in that. I mean, I think they score those first 2 drives. That makes it 14-0. And I think they probably get maybe another field goal where they miss that field goal at the end of the second half. Maybe they're in better field position because they drive a little better. I genuinely think they're up 17-0. And then once that blizzard hits, there is no way the Pats can score 17 points in that second half. Like, no one could have.
And you and I, we were texting during the match or game. And when they decided not to take the 3 points and went for it on 4th down and then failed, we kind of both agreed that was going to come back to haunt them. And even in that moment, I wasn't thinking about the weather that was about to hit. I was just thinking about the context of the game and 2 defenses that were really shutting the other team down, and that it didn't feel like it felt like this was going to be a pretty low scoring game. And so giving up on 3 points was going to be huge. Yeah. Then when you 100%. Know how bad the weather was going to be, which Sean Payton must have known, it made the decision to go for it even more insane. And I guess if you're defending him, the argument is if they do score a touchdown on that drive, it's probably game over, as it turned out. Like 14 points would have been enough to win the game, but then 10 points would have almost been enough to win the game. Like,
yeah. And just real quick, I mean, that's basically exactly what he said. He said, I wanted to go up 14. So I think that's kind of what he was thinking. And I can't 100% fault him for thinking that. But at the same time, I think you need to take into context, you have a QB who hasn't played in 2 years. You have a chance to get a good amount, a 2-score game on a team. And on a team that you've completely shut down, where 10 could actually have been enough, whether there was a blizzard or not, like, at that point, like,
well,
I think you really need to understand the, like, the level there.
Yeah, I don't know about whether there was a blizzard or not bit. I think I don't think the Patriots offense is so bad that under normal conditions, they were going to be limited to 10 points against the Broncos defense. But
I mean, they were destroying them.
he must have known how bad the weather was going to be. And that game in the second half would have looked the Patriots were so content with just not losing the game, not doing anything dumb, and whether they were punting from their own 5-yard line, knowing that their punter was only getting 30, 40 yards, they still felt comfortable enough that the Broncos were going to have to pick up like 2 first downs to even be thinking about attempting a field goal, and probably weren't going to be able to do that. Now, had that game been tied, that would have at least forced the Patriots to think a little bit more there, because then the equation would have been flipped. Like, it's 10-10, we're on our own 5-yard line, it's 3rd and 5. If we just end up punting over and over again, this is a positional game that we're losing right now. And we're just going to keep getting pinned back. And eventually either we're going to make a mistake in critical territory and turn the ball over on our own 10, or they are going to pick up a fluky first down, or a penalty is going to get thrown, and all of a sudden we're going to be 13-10 down, and that's game over given the context. Like, Vrabel was very happy to basically say to the Broncos, I don't think you can score any more points. I mean, Roma was going on and on about that as the game wore on. He was right. And I think given that, we can't give Sean Payton the pass of, well, the 14 points would have practically won the game. Because it's like, yeah, but the 10 points probably would have done it too. And you didn't do it. Like,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you 100% kick. And then, I mean, obviously, it's really tough to do this, but if they kick that ball and they obviously, let's say they make that field goal, it completely changes whether that whole fumble happens as well, because now the Patriots have the ball. They're not deep in that own territory where they punted it right back, and then the Broncos got it, and that's when they fumbled. Like, the whole game dynamic would have been changed. You probably aren't in that scenario where he then fumbles it. I know that's stupid to say, but it does actually look back on it. It probably changed the entire game, because they might go into half 10-0 up instead of 7-7. And then to your point, I think, we both discussed that was going to haunt them. And then as soon as the Pats kicked that field goal to go up 10-7, I know we had also texted like, I think this game's over. Like, I don't see the Broncos now being able to score again, especially with like this blizzard coming in, and Stidham just was looking kind of worse and worse as every drive went on. Like, as soon as they went down 3, I kind of was like, I think this game's done. Like, there's 2 whole quarters left, or I guess 1.5 quarters, because that was like a 10-minute drive. But like, I thought they had no chance at that point. I thought it was done.
yeah. And in the end, I mean, unlucky that they did have a reasonable field goal attempt that got blocked.
Yeah.
Well, tipped. And that was probably good had it not been tipped and so that was the unfortunate thing, that, they probably, and overtime in those conditions would have been fascinating to watch, I do have to say, because then the whole dilemma of getting the ball first or not, that becomes a really different equation. I don't know. I think then you want the ball first, because I think the argument would be you can try and pin the team deeper on the first punt than the other team could do to you on the second punt. I think even though you would accept that we're probably not scoring any points on the first possession, which makes it insane to be wanting the ball second, to be wanting the ball first, the argument would be like, if we get it on our own 35 and then we can even pick up 5 yards and we can have a good punt, we're going to be guaranteed to be getting the ball back around midfield, and that's way better.
Yeah.
And especially the thing you would have really wanted to be picking, I guess, in those conditions was which direction you were moving, because there was such a difference in terms of from a win perspective. So that would have been the key thing to win in the toss and overtime. But yeah, I mean,
but I mean, going back to what you said, I 100% agree. I think Sean Payton makes the bad call of not kicking that field goal, but I also think he has a lot of the blame to take because they didn't try anything. Like, I th you gotta dip into the well a little, like, why not run a reverse to Mims or you do a flea flicker or something, like, at some point, you have to say, "Nothing is working right now, let's try something." Like, it was the most bland play calling I've ever seen, and as soon as they went down, they just continued with these bland generic play calls and nothing was working. Like you have to dip into the well a little, knowing you've got a unexperienced QB in a fucking blizzard. Like, go for something. Give a trick play.
I don't know necessarily trick play
But
because,
like
but I think you have
naked
something more
bootleg,
creative than
end
just.
around.
I don't know even about that because then you've got moving parts in the backfield and people are going to
So what's
slip.
more creative then?
Just not a run up the like design quarterback runs, which that was actually the biggest thing, which is what the Patriots were when they were picking up yards was just the defenders can't move either.
Yeah.
So once you create a pocket for your quarterback, no one can close him down very easily. So if you can just tell him like we're going to have this weird designed run, it's not really a draw. It's that you're going to hang back there and we're going to pretend that we're passing. And then all you're going to do is we don't know where the gap's going to be, but we promise, given the conditions that we're playing in, there's going to be some room to run down the middle, to the right, to the left, and we just want you to pick up 5 yards. And if we can start creating that threat, then we can at least make the Patriots think a bit. Because the other issue was too, it's just like everything they then were trying, like they did try a couple of like screen passes and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, obviously they're not going to work because there's no threat of being beaten deep.
No,
So
yeah.
you like every player is within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. So you're not going to be able to
Yeah.
like, oh, you had us fooled. We thought that wide receiver was going to tear off down the like. No one's worried
Yeah.
about that. That's the bit. That's the bit, and maybe even something wild like pooch punt on a first down. Something like something crazy to at least shake it up. I mean, as you discussed going into the game, this is a guy who, onside kicked to start the
Yep,
second
to
half of
start
a
the
Super
second half.
Bowl.
Yep.
Maybe you do something like insane where you're like, oh, do you know what?
Yeah.
If we can push punt and put them within their own 5, we'll view that as a win on this possession.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, their top play in the entire second half was the 8-yard scramble that Sidham made on like the 3rd and 13 before they had the blocked field goal. That was it.
Yeah.
8 yards, an 8-yard scramble. Like, yeah.
But even that was representative. He picked those yards up so easily.
Yeah, so easily.
And you could have done that more frequently. And I know that's so easy to say just watching the game, but like all the damage that was done by either team in the second half was a quarterback running with the ball. But I suppose we also do a disservice to the Broncos if we don't discuss the fact that they were also negatively impacted by quite a controversial call, which is the fact that the Patriots in the first half went for it on 4th and 1, had the QB sneak.
Oh.
Drake May was clearly short of the line to gain. Like there is no way. However, it was ruled a first down on the field, and there are no angles that can definitively prove that he didn't get there, even though every angle shows that he didn't. It's one of these annoying circumstances where it's like, yeah, well, he's lost inside of a group of guys. It's like, yeah, but the guy who is in front of him, who he clearly never gets past, doesn't get to the marker. So unless he was able to sort of morph through his asshole with the ball, there's absolutely no
now,
chance.
we can't 100% discredit that.
No, that's what Drake May does. That's his special move. But like that's one of those times. And I actually wanted to discuss this a week or two ago when I told you let me bring up the virtual measurement system. I don't mind technology in sport, and for the most part, I'm a fan of it. But to have this weird system where you combine technology with just a random 65-year-old man first deciding where the ball was, like it's the system is flawed when everywhere the chains are set and every other previous positioning of the ball is just randomly determined by a guy going like, I think he went down to the 33. So
Yeah.
why then pull out this piece of technology? Like, don't worry, on a critical fourth down, we will bring in AWS and Hawkeye and measure this and have complete precision. It's like, yeah, but that's not my issue. My issue is that on the last play, he was supposed to be down a yard sooner, but the guy's
Yeah.
just gone and dropped the ball there. Like, it's such a stupid, like, this is what we could do. Why don't you do it all the time?
Yeah.
Versus,
Well, I mean, yeah, and this is the thing is all that digital measurement it's literally just replacing the chain guy coming out. Like there's nothing like innovative or scientific about it. It's just replacing the chain with an actual like digital line. So that like it's not helping with the spotting at all. Like you know what I mean? Like exactly what you're saying. It's
no, it
not.
does help with the spotting. The Hawkeye, when it can, I think it does try and
Oh no,
position where
I'm
the
pretty sure it's just like it's just a now a digital line like a.
no, because we've seen those plays when the guy's getting tackled, and then they move the ball. They move where it does help them position the Hawkeye technology. Like if it's a guy getting tackled, but then they literally need clear angle views from a camera perspective of like the ball as the guy falls down. So it can't be used in that Drake May tush push situation because there's not enough visual evidence for the technology to work. But had he sort of run to the edge and been tackled, then they would have been able to use the technology to really specifically tell you, oh, the ball was down at this specific marker. But my issue with that is that's cool, but the first down marker was kind of arbitrarily set on the previous play because you just marked the guy down wherever you thought he was.
Yeah,
So like,
but I mean
why
my thing
use
is like
technology on?
why can't they just have like chips in the ball
Mm,
a
no one
and
knows.
then have a technology that you can just like triangulates where the ball is like at any time because I understand the argument will be but you don't know when he's down and that's
Yeah,
fine but on a play like that he never crossed the line no matter whether he was down or not. It
yeah.
never crossed the line. So that's a play where you could say, I don't give a fuck if he's standing straight jumping. He's still never crossed that line. Like it would be such an easy thing to fix and be able to use in a good situation like that. And it was just a bad call. Like at some point, and that's the other thing I think that bothers me about reviews and maybe you as well is like I think there needs to be a distinction between, oh, we made this call on the field and we don't, quote, have the definitive evidence to overturn it. But if you can look at that play and completely with probability say there is a much higher probability he didn't make it, then I think you overturn it. Like I think it's stupid to say some 90-year-old on the field arbitrarily thought he saw something and put the ball here. And now when we watch with all the replays, we can probably say with a 93 percent probability that it actually didn't cross. But because it's not 100% and we don't have the actual definitive view, we're going to go with the 9-year-old who can't see down the line because there's 5 guys in the way. I think that's dumb. Like, I think at a point you need to think, let's go with better, the better decision based off of the better views.
In the very least, I think they should adopt sort of the cricket approach in the way you retain a review. So I think when they come back and say the ruling on the field stands, which is not confirmed, that's basically them saying we don't know if we were right, but there's not enough evidence to show that we were
We don't
wrong.
have the 100% video proof.
You should keep your timeout and you should keep your challenge. Because that's them saying, you may have been correct, but we can't prove that you were correct, but we also can't prove that you were wrong. It's just we decided it this way. And I think in the very least, that should be because take yesterday, it was clear that that was a bad challenge by the Broncos. Like, because they're never going to find evidence that shows where like when you're in a mass of people and that's where it's been ruled. So you are just wasting a timeout and you're wasting a challenge. And as it transpired, that timeout was kind of valuable. like at the end of the game. That timeout would have been the Broncos would have loved to have had that timeout back in the fourth quarter, but they lost it on a challenge that they kind of had to go for, but also probably deep down knew that they were going to lose even as they were making it. And in the very least, if you'd say calls, stands, here's your timeout back, here's your challenge back. I think that would be more comfortable. You saw a sort of similar circumstance in the Rams game when McVay called the timeout at the end of the game, but then he wasn't sure if he was supposed to challenge because it was unclear whether like everything was automatically being reviewed. And so you had this weird situation where the announcers were confused. Like, why isn't he throwing the challenge flag? He's asking if he needs to. He's already called the timeout, which the announcers seemed to not understand had been done. They were treating it as if this was just an unusually long pause in the midst of an NFL game. But even in all of those circumstances, if it was like, throw it, if we can't prove that you're wrong, you'll get it back. I think that's the fairest thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why we think it's all right. Like, here's what bothers me is in that play, there was no camera angle that could prove exactly where that ball was. But then how can a ref know exactly where that ball was? Like, he also can't see where the ball is either. So
Well,
why is it no, he can't because we have the exact same view he has. We have the view
well, we
down the
don't.
line. We do.
We
We
don't
have
have.
the view down the line.
Yeah, but he can
That's where
be.
they're standing.
Yes, but a camera is a fixed object, so I can understand that an official may be able to be reacting. I agree with you most of the time, but I think there are instances where the live person may be able to judge that better than a camera would be able to. But look, ultimately, the thing is, we have to eat. The NFL has to accept they're not really pushing forward with the best technology possible, which is fine because VAR in European football has been an indication that maybe technology is not always the answer. And accepting that sometimes watching sport includes wrong decisions being made is okay. There's an imperfection to sports, and that's fine from a player perspective, from a coaching perspective, and from an officiating perspective. But don't just arbitrarily decide when you're kind of going to try and use the technology and then argue that because we do use it in these instances, now there's no mistakes. And that's kind of the position the NFL takes, which is like, no, we have technology, therefore we're getting to the right decisions. And I don't know, that was a frustrating in the moment, the significance of that was not as easy to appreciate as it then later was because it felt like, oh well, they got the first down, then they ended up having to settle for the field goal anyway. So it felt like at that time, like, oh well, the wrong decision was made, but it wasn't too costly. This probably won't matter too much. It's just the Patriots going up 10-7 with a quarter and a half to go. Turns out that was the last score of the game.
Yeah.
So it was pretty costly. And I actually don't think it's getting the attention it kind of deserves based on the significance of it had on the outcome.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess we can't go past this game without saying the most pivotal play in the entire game was Stidham's I don't know what the fuck that was that he tried to do instead of just throwing it away at 3 separate occasions or just taking a sack and tried to
Yeah.
two-hand shotgun shot put shovel
He did
it
it again,
to
though.
a wide receiver. I know. He
He did
3
another.
times
Yeah. Like he was
I
playing
don't know what he was
basketball
doing.
and he was just
Yeah,
doing like
I
a
don't know what
chest
that
pass to
was.
receivers. He did it a couple
But I
more times
mean,
and it actually worked the other times. But yeah, I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know what he was doing, and I don't it's a bad position. You can say it's a bad position to put him in to do that, and
I don't know.
okay,
You
maybe it is,
can't
but I
expect
think
him
at
to
the
do
end of the
anything
day,
that dumb.
yes. I mean, it was 3rd and 4, like, and it's not outrageous to say on 3rd and 4, throw a quick screen pass, and if it's not there, just throw it down to his feet, take a sack, throw it out of bounds. But what you don't do is shuffle back 15 yards and then just basketball pass it backwards. Like that's not. I don't think that's a coaching mistake. I think that's a Stidham fuck up. And at the end of the day, I think that one play probably cost them the game.
Probably. Yeah, it's always hard. As we always discuss, it's hard because you never know how the rest of the game plays out without that. But yeah, probably. All they needed him to do was not do anything spectacularly dumb, and they
Yep.
probably win that game after that one good drive that he put together. And yeah. And a shame for him. I do feel sorry for him. even with the conditions, because he must have thought going into that game or in the buildup of this week of like, wow, what an opportunity this is for me. Not just to win an AFC championship game and then play in a Super Bowl. That alone, crazy. But also to think like, oh gosh, if I play well here, I'm definitely getting a chance as a starter eventually. I'm getting such a bigger contract, and that's not going to materialize now. I mean, that was no one who will have watched what happened yesterday. They may give him the pass of like the conditions were so tough and you only had a week to prepare. We don't think less of you now than we did, but no one is coming out. Like the New York Giants aren't now being like, we better sign Stidham next time he's available. What a useful backup he would be.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think just my closing argument for this game is I think that could be one of the worst winning performances I've ever seen of like a team going into the Super Bowl. like they won that game. I don't know if they fully deserved to win that game, and I don't know if they actually really won the game or if the Broncos just kind of really lost that game.
The tough thing is for the Patriots, it's 2 weeks in a row where it doesn't feel like they really won the game. That other teams made critical errors and not through them just stifling defense. Like the difference is the 49ers lost against the Seahawks making critical errors at key moments, but because the Seahawks defense was so good that it was forcing those errors and there was not a lot that you could do. This just felt like Stidham just handed the Patriots 7 points at one moment in time, and CJ Stroud last week handed the Patriots points at key moments as well. And so I think it's not just that it's one game, it's 2 weeks in a row now of almost feeling like we watched the same game of like, oh, the Patriots offense can do nothing against this good defense. And, oh, they're losing. This is a bad spot. Oh, wait, they're not losing anymore because the quarterbacks just decided to hand them a few points. I got 2 other small talking points. One, I don't think teams should be allowed to wear white in snow games. I think when you know that there's weather coming, and I get that the argument could be made, it's a disadvantage to your own quarterback that he's not able to see where people are, but at least he knows where they're supposed to be. But but I'm sure there's a chance that Stidham says on that game-ending interception, I didn't see the corner at all. Like I can't see him. So I can see our own players, but I can't see them at all. So I think in that scenario, you should be required to wear some kind of alternate jersey where at least you're not wearing white. That to me seems such a simple rule fix.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird though. But it's like,
but why?
But how confident of the snow? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it only started snowing the second half, so like,
but we knew it was going to
like,
snow.
Does it have to be?
I think if there's any chance of snow, there's any chance.
I was kind of surprised it started. So any chance? So over 25%. If the national weather forecast says over 25% chance.
Yeah, sure. And if snow starts to come, change your uniforms at halftime or at the end of a quarter. You know, like you've got to. I mean, you're treating it as if this is like would be an insane requirement to put on the one of the teams. It's just where you have multiple. In addition to your home jerseys, your primary jerseys might not clash, so just wear those. And then if they clash, you have your blackout jersey from a weird Thursday night football game or whatever it is. Throw that on. Like, be ready to go. This is the requirement. It's insane to me that billion-dollar leagues are literally having a game take place where it's like you can't see one of the teams properly.
Yeah,
and the ultimate question is, which team would you have rather been in that scenario? I would have much rather been the Patriots, where like you have such a huge defensive advantage. There is a significant chance that literally Stidham is struggling more to figure out who's open on his team because he has to look a little harder to pick out exactly where the Patriots players are.
Maybe, yeah.
And then on a similar, I've complained about, I'm not the biggest fan of Robert Kraft. I think I'm on record with that one. I usually complain about he's one of those rich assholes who insist on wearing sneakers everywhere and treats that as if like it's the smart thing to do, but he only gets away with it because he's a billionaire and an owner of the Patriots. Otherwise, people would tell him to get out wearing sneakers. His stupid like Letterman jacket thing that he wears to games now because he's such a cool owner, like, I mean, I could relate to the players so much. Me and the players, we bond about clothing. We're just a bunch of hip guys owning an NFL team. It infuriates me every time I see it. It's the stupidest thing in the world.
Now we're bullying 84-year-olds.
I'm not bullying him. Far from it. I just think he looks like an asshole.
Well, I mean, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy who is, what a massive loser as a billionaire who is paying for hand jobs and then, just somehow got away with this. Like the world has just forgotten about the fact that he was like delaying flying to playoff games because he had to go to a strip mall in Florida and get a hand job. I mean, this is the poster of cool that the Patriots want to hold up.
That's funny.
All right, moving on to the much better game. Which
I know we talked way too long about that game.
I will.
And now we're
the NFC Championship game, the Rams against the Seahawks. Really good, fun game, good game, high scoring, complete opposite basically of everything that we saw in the first game, which was two good offenses, two good defenses, but probably the criticism of the game would be that neither defense showed up as much as you might have hoped them to. In particular, I think the criticism maybe of the Rams defense, even though they're not as good as the Seahawks defense, but allowing Sam Darnold to have the standard of performance that he had in the NFC Championship game, I think is less acceptable than it is the fact that the Rams moved the ball pretty consistently on the Seahawks.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think if anything, I mean, I was going to start off with, did the best team win this game? Because the Rams had almost 100 more yards offense, and I just genuinely, after watching that game, I still don't really get how they lost. Like it seems weird to me that they lost that game, and I know the Seahawks started off really strong, and that was definitely part of it. And I think of just a few bad calls on the Rams' part, and then that one bad turnover, and that special teams has plagued them all season. But yeah, I mean, you let Sam Darnold just take you to town, especially in the first half. I mean, he had that first two drives. I think he had like 130 yards in the first two drives. But I mean, good for Sam Darnold. I mean, maybe he needed a win. Like
He
everyone
seems like
kind
a
of
very
thought it was
nice
coming,
guy.
right? Yeah, and like everyone kept saying it's coming. It's Sam Darnold. Like you can't trust him. You can't trust him. And he put together a great performance. Like I mean, there was nothing not to trust there. Like he was exceptional.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, ultimately, yeah, the muffed punt, which just like insane. I think we got to get to the point. I think if I'm an NFL head coach, I'm I'm telling players I don't even want you to attempt to return. I don't even want a fair catch. Like why are we doing this? Like the number of times that you see a net positive outcome from a attempted punt return versus, okay, most of them are just fair catches and that's the end of it. He'd already bobbled one attempted fair catch and got away with it. He fumbled it, but then was able to dive on the ball. At that moment in time, you should have taken him out of the game. In that one, he completely misplayed it, and then he steps forward, then he's going backwards, which, I mean, obviously, I've never returned a punt in my life, but every single person who's spoken about it is like, the moment that you're having to start to move backwards is when you should just step out of the play. Like, that's an easy one, The crazier thing to me, and this might be me being overly critical of him, as soon as he falls, you got to try and get out of the way of the ball.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he falls on his back and still attempts to catch the ball is insane. And I get that everything's moving so quickly at that point that that's the smallest of the criticisms that I would have, because your judgment in that moment, who knows? But you just got to go like, whoops, let me get out of the way of that. And if it had just brushed his shoulder as he tried to roll out of the way, I'd actually defend him a lot more than the fact that he fell on his ass and tried to catch a ball as it landed on his own chest.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like, and it was super close to the end zone too, right? Like at that point, if you think it's done, just let it go. Hope for a good bounce, and it gets the touchback. Like, don't start backpedaling like that and trying to fall over catching it.
And I understand there's a big difference between being on your own 6-yard line versus being on your own 1 in terms of the types of plays you can call and how much you have to worry about the risk of a safety, especially against the Seahawks defense. But there's lots of times where you see these guys where you're like, it's probably a touchback. Like, I think this ball's just bouncing into the end zone. You see guys waving for fair catches at the end on their own 5 or 6 yard line, where it's like, I think there's a solid chance here. You've got a touchback. And there's moments where it's like, we saw it at the very end of the game.
The very end of the game. He caught it at the 7 or 5, whatever it was.
Just, on the 7. Just let it bounce. Because the win would be, if it does bounce into the end zone and you are starting on your own 20, that's a massive win, given the circumstances of the game. Whereas if you start on your own 1, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna
6 more yards.
Yeah, and you're going to have to heave it anyway. It's not like you're really going to try and let a play develop, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we both said that as he punted it. Like, why? I mean, at that point, maybe even go for the block and don't even put anyone back there.
Yep.
Like, what's the difference? Fair catching it on the 10 versus
the only thing in that scenario is they had such little time. If you put no one back there, they could just do like a little dribbling punt that eats off another 5 seconds, 6 seconds, which at that point was critical for the Rams. So I think that's the only reason you had to put someone back there, so that they could at least gather the ball if that's what the circumstance was. Or even on a blocked punt, it could have just kind of wasted more time on the block than actually you would have, like theoretically, if it had been like a tipped punt that kept going. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think the Rams are the better team. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. This will really feel to them, I think, like one of those games that got away. And they'll probably, I'm not sure how much home field advantage played a role in this game, because I don't think it played a huge part last night or a couple of weeks ago when we saw them play in Seattle, when they also outplayed the Seahawks, but then somehow lost from a strong winning position. But I think the Rams will point more to games they lost over the course of the season that they really shouldn't have, that should have given them the 1 seed, the bye, and home field throughout the playoffs. And that will be even more frustrating. The fact that the Rams could be like, how did we lose to the 49ers on that Thursday night game? How did we lose to the Panthers down the stretch? Like, these are games that we should have just not let get away from us. And I think, the Rams were the best team this season. And the difference between them and the Seahawks is not huge. But that's going to be a super frustrating one for them.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, you watch Seattle and they put up 31 points, but at the same time, I just feel like the Rams offense is so much better. And I know that's unfair to say because they didn't score as many points, but when you watch it, like, when it's one of those things, when it clicks, it seems unstoppable. Whereas a lot of the Seahawk plays where they look good, they are not gimmicky plays, but they're kind of like chunk change plays where, like, it was that deep bomb on that first drive. It's not like this sustained, like when the Rams are clicking, it's like every play is 6 to 12 yards, 6 to 12 yards, 6 to 12 yards,
it's
25
surgical.
yards. It's just so efficient and so good. Whereas
it's what
Seahawks,
Tom Brady kept saying, the surgical thing. He was right. There is just a difference. It does feel like the Rams are picking you apart. And there's the play action coming in. Yeah. And there's the play action comes in, and Stafford just looks like, not only does it look like they run play action, it looks like he then has forever. And then on top of it, there's like 3 people open, and he could either go through like a crossing route for 7 yards or Puka Nacua deep for 45 yards. Like, he just has options available. But then, strangely, as has been the case over the course of the season, for all of the unstoppable element of their offense and how surgical they are, they then get into critical, like, 3rd and 4th down territory, and then they can't pick up first downs. Like, again, to go back to those games, it's what cost them against the 49ers in that Thursday night game when they went for it on 4th down in overtime and didn't get it. What cost them against the Panthers late in that game when they had the big 3rd down already in field goal range, and then Stafford actually fumbled it and turned the ball over, and that ended up costing them the game. And then you think to last night, they get in a position to, take a critical lead and have it, they were 1st and 10 from the Seattle 12, and then ended up being 2nd and 4 from the 6, and then incompletion. And that's, it was fundamentally game over from that moment. It felt like game over when they didn't get it. We both agree in the moment that they should have just taken the 3 points, made it a one-score game. I think the argument for doing that is a couple. One, not only does it mean, yes, even the Seahawks go and score a touchdown, it's an 8-point game. You
It's
can get the
still
2-point
one
conversion.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming the Seahawks don't go for 2. That's the only thing you could say. Maybe the Seahawks do something insane and they decide to go for 2 and then they try and make it a 2-score game again. But probably they're not doing that.
I would have loved to have seen that decision, but yeah.
But I don't think they're doing it because the risk is so huge. But, like maybe you decide to do it. The other point is it means it's not as deflating. Like, okay, guys, we got critical points in a critical moment. There's 5 minutes left in the game. It's now a 1-point game. We did kind of what we sort of needed to do on that drive. The other argument, too, is I get that his logic would be if we don't go for this, then they're on their own 6. Most of the time, that feels like a good thing. But when you ultimately need to get the ball back to then score a touchdown, you're kind of giving them more yards to play with to kill the clock, which is what ended up happening. Whereas if you kick the field goal and then they get the ball back somewhere between their own 25 and their own 40, depending on what happened on that kickoff, the Seahawks, if everything plays out identically, the Seahawks would have got the ball back with like a minute and a half left, down 1, because they wouldn't have lost
the Rams.
The Rams, sorry, because they wouldn't have lost all the time or the timeouts they had to use as the Seahawks moved the ball from their own 6-yard line to the 25. And that to me is also something people need to think about more of, like, we have to get the ball back. Actually pinning them deep, unless it's going to be a 3 and out, pinning them deep is not necessarily that big of an advantage.
Yeah. No, and then I also agree too. I mean, if you kick that field goal and they have, 4 minutes or 5 minutes left, you said, when they get the ball back?
4:54.
You don't need to really get into desperation mode to get the ball back because you need to score a touchdown and you need at least, a minute probably to go the length of a field for a touchdown. Whereas like if you just need another field goal, you can even say, hey, if we get the ball back with 40 seconds left and no timeouts, we got a shot, versus like a touchdown, no way. So even that gives you a lot more leeway with not having to panic about getting the ball back and still having a shot even when you only get 30 seconds left.
That changes then the play calling for the Seahawks of, again, that worry in their mind of like, we can't punt it. We can't punt it inside our own half because then they'll only need 2 first downs to have a chance. I mean, their punter is excellent, so I guess they're less concerned by that fact because he can punt the ball 70 yards. But still, you're at least making them think more about their own offensive play calling, whereas it put them in the scenario of like, we're up 4. We'll just try and run the ball, kill as much clock as possible, even if we end up punting it. Yeah, even if they'd stopped them 1 first down before, and the thought had been like, they have 45 seconds, but 45 seconds to go down the field and score a touchdown. Okay, the Rams offense is capable of it, but it's a much different scenario.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk 2 controversial calls in this game. The first one, I don't know if you think is controversial, but it's definitely been on Instagram a lot. And that's the Cooper Kupp catch, extend, first down, fumble, but ground caused the fumble. And a lot of people are saying they don't understand what the difference is compared to other plays when you're going to catch it and you have to maintain possession as you go to the ground. Whereas this one, he kind of catches it and then in stride of catching it starts reaching out. And as he reaches out, he hits the ground and loses possession. So do you have to maintain control when you're hitting the ground, or is it that the ground can't cause the fumble?
So, I mean, this all comes down to whether or not you feel, right, that he has established possession, made a football move, and then at that point, the ground can't cause a fumble. And I think it's up for interpretation. When you watch from one angle, when you watch from the side angle looking on it, I'd say it doesn't look like a completion. But then when you watch it from behind, he does take 3 steps basically, and then he is reaching the ball out. So I think it probably is a catch. By the letter of the law, I think it is a catch. But
can we agree with this, though? Can we agree it was a little closer than both the announcers and the officials were letting on? Like,
yeah.
it never crossed their mind, really, that it was like, all they were debating was whether he got a first, which was annoying because it's like, he clearly got the whole fucking football's over the line, like, when you look
No, see,
down
I
the
disagree
view.
with you on this. I also think that's where you're wrong.
No, I think you're wrong.
No, because his knee is down a lot
Yes.
sooner than people think it is. And
No,
so I'm not
you're
sure
wrong.
he gets the first down. Now, in the end, I don't think it matters because it would have been 4th and inches. They're going for it, and they're getting the first down almost certainly. And you could argue from a Rams perspective, in that scenario, you actually kind of want the first down to be awarded because otherwise you're just draining another 40 seconds off the clock on a unstoppable, theoretically unstoppable tush push.
QB
So, like, you're if you're the Rams, like, it's a tough position to be in. But I actually think Tom Brady was the one who's like, I don't think he got it. Everyone else,
I think he clearly gets it.
Everyone, I don't know, because
when they stop it, when they do the stop, I think.
But the stop isn't the right stop.
Over.
Yeah, but the stop's not the right stop because his knee, which you can't see clearly from the side angle, his one knee is down a lot sooner than it makes it look. And his knee is down before he's really started to fully extend it. He's probably an inch short. And as I said, I don't think that's – but I do think they moved on from was it a catch or not, like, way too quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And then obviously the other one, which maybe again doesn't make much of a difference, is the Puka Nacua catch at the very end. Another one that they moved on extremely quickly for. And I think it probably was the right call. But even as a viewer, we only saw it twice. And the fact that they don't even go to review or stop or they made that call so quickly.
But the problem is, as I said to you at the time, there has to be some solution. Because I get that they can't rule that he was out of bounds because then they need evidence to show that he wasn't, and then you make a mistake when on a call that is. But you can't rule him down and then say the clock is running and then end the game because then the Seahawks just all ran onto the field and they were never going to restart the game. Like they weren't – like even McVay had kind of sort of like a sad dog walked onto the field at that point. So the fact that they then do a really quick review and then you hear the officials going, a review has been made. The call stands. The runner was down by contact. Seahawks win. Like, but I will say. That
seems like a very quick review for a play that seemed very close.
But I also think this affects too much my view of the game. The fact that the Rams in that period of time did manage to rack up 45 yards or whatever it was on those two completions, even that makes me wonder how they lost that game.
Yeah.
Just that, because when going back to how explosive and dangerous they look, in those moments when you see that, where you're like, oh yeah, it's just easy for them. They're probably the only team in the NFL who could have done that. Who, like, literally when they got the ball back, I didn't switch off. I think most other teams, I would have gone, game over. I'll go brush my teeth and get ready. I'll just leave the sound on just in case something insane happens. But this is game. Like if Sam Darnold had got the ball back in that scenario, it's done. I still felt like, I don't know, with the Rams, like if they can get one play where Puka Nacua runs out of bounds for 35 yards, then it's Hail Mary territory. And they feel like the kind of team who could actually get a Hail Mary.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it would have been crazy interesting if if that throw is just another foot to the right and he catches that as he's going out of bounds and they get that 1 second and they're on the 30. What happens? I mean, 30 is doable. That's not crazy. I mean, you're definitely making that throw and maybe it's not even a Hail Mary. Maybe it's like an actual play design.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But fucking NFL ruined it. We should have had that opportunity.
But I mean, ultimately, and this is the problem, and we'll do a full Super Bowl preview next week, but it does feel like that.
Super Bowl?
Yeah. Like, I can't imagine the Patriots beating
We said that
either.
before. Like, we said that
We
in our
did.
preview.
We did, but this reaffirmed it for
and
me.
it was a great game.
And look, we can't say it was because for all we know, the Patriots will now go on and win the Super Bowl, and it will look even dumber. But I
Won't
can't,
count.
I can't watch that game and think that the Patriots. Like, the interesting question for me would be, how many teams in the NFC do I think would beat the Patriots in a like Super Bowl like scenario? And I think it's quite a few because I don't
I think it
even
might
think
be
the
every team that made the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the health status of the 49ers, I might want a little bit of an assessment of like who's turning up for the game. But yeah, I just think the gulf between the AFC and the NFC this year felt significant. And the Patriots, I don't think, are honestly the best AFC team anyway.
No.
And so those two factors combined, this feels like one of the biggest mismatches I can remember in a Super Bowl scenario.
And I don't know if they're even on the best form. Like, I know that's stupid to say, considering like they've won their last whatever games. Like, they're winning in the playoffs, so they should be in the best form. But they don't seem like they're the team in the best form. Like, they're barely winning these games, and they almost shouldn't be winning these games. You know, the other team is losing these games. They're not definitively winning.
No, I think that's fair. I think if the version of the Patriots we saw in October were turning up for the Super Bowl now, then I would feel differently about this. But the version that we've seen of them for the last 2 months, which is
worse.
Yeah, they do feel like they're getting worse.
Yeah.
And I think they are going to get worse because this is going to be the game they lose. So I do think so, but I don't know. Sam Darnold has to play spectacularly badly, I think.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is, I think Sam Darnold has that in him.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll maybe say is McDonald maybe gets too conservative and kind of gets a little nervous being in his first Super Bowl and doesn't come out like he did here. And I hope that isn't like
Vrabel's first Super Bowl too, though.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like
as a coach, as a head coach.
But I think maybe the difference is like the Seahawks to me are more of a team that like hits those deep balls and does a lot more trick plays and is more aggressive. Like, they can be a pretty aggressive team, and I hope they just don't dial that down because it's the Super Bowl. Like, I hope third play they try and hit Shaheed on a deep ball again. Like, don't get conservative just because it's the Super Bowl. And if I'm comparing this game, like, and I say, okay, the Seahawks beat the Rams 31-27. Now, if I insert the Pats as a comparison to the Rams, I think their offense is significantly worse. And I don't even know if their defense is better than the Rams. Like, the Rams edge rushers actually did a decent job yesterday. Like, they had a good amount of pressure on Darnold, just like they just handled it well. Like, I don't think the Patriots defense, I think it's a little overrated. I don't think it's that much better than the Rams. So now you've got a much worse offense and maybe the same defense. Like, this could be 31-13.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be a blowout. To me, it's super reminiscent of the Broncos-Panthers Super Bowl.
I thought you were going to say the Giants-Ravens.
No, that's going too far back in terms of like parallels, just because of the difference in which the sport was played. Yeah. But it does feel a little bit reminiscent of like, this defense is just going to stifle that. And it's a little bit of an insult to Sam Darnold to say that he is Peyton Manning at the very end of his career, but it's still the same idea of like, as long as there's not a colossal fuck up, your defense is going to win you this game. Like, and I mostly trust Sam Darnold, but it does just worry me slightly.
It's always a chance. And maybe that's how you spin this Super Bowl being fun. Like, that's what the NFL should do. Like, Sam Darnold, you never know.
But here's the thing is, he has to have a colossal fuck up, probably two, both in the first half. Because again, I think this game is going to go, we're not going to get ahead of our prediction, but I think this game could be so lopsided that he can afford to throw a pick six in the third quarter because they're going to be up by 21 points. But he just needs to make sure it's not like, oh my God, the Patriots are winning 10-0 now. they got the ball back. Like this, how has this happened? That's what they have to avoid. Even then, I think they can spot the Patriots 10 points, and I think they still win. But yeah, it does. It's a shame. If this had been the Bills, it's more interesting. I mean, if it had been the Bengals, it's more interesting.
I honestly, and I know we said this isn't the case, but I think I would have rather the Broncos, because at least the Broncos have an elite defense. Do you like that? I mean, that defense was impressive that first half. Like, at least you could say, yeah, Stidham, he might be awful. He might be terrible. But there's a chance that the Broncos defense could be so good that they could make this like a 13-10, let's get lucky and win this game kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least you would have had that.
And also, because of the fact that I'm saying the one fear for me is Sam Darnold messing up. If he is then up against an elite defense, the chances of that grow exponentially. And then that feeling of you've spotted the Broncos 10 points, I don't know. Because now the Broncos might feel like they're 7 points away from winning the game.
Yeah.
And that's different. Whereas I do think the Patriots probably are going to have to win like the Rams tried to win yesterday. Like it's the path to victory for the Patriots is
a
31.
Shootout.
Yeah. It's them scoring 30 plus points. I don't think it's them winning 17-14. I would be very surprised.
Yeah. And I just don't think they have I don't think they match, like, their offense isn't as good as the Rams to be in the shootout.
No, I agree. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. And here come the Patriots winning the Super Bowl by like 10 points.
50-10.
We just completely shit on them.
Defense completely shuts down the Seahawks, and their offense puts up a record number of points in the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, we'll get onto that obviously in our full prediction that we'll do next week, seeing as we get the luxury of the 2-week break. Probably no Pro Bowl coverage. Any other sporting topics or non-sporting topics that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but on Netflix, it was originally supposed to be on Friday, but it got postponed because of the weather. Alex Honnold scaled the 101-story skyscraper solo, like free solo style.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. Like, and I know technically he'll even say that wasn't very challenging from a technical standpoint, but to just have that live, it's just really fucking crazy. And I don't know if you I didn't watch all of it. It took an hour and a half. There are just parts where it's like, I almost don't even want to watch this because it like freaks me out a little.
I'm so morally against it. It's hard for me to even talk about it. I think it's disgusting. Because I think, whilst I agree it's probably one of his easier climbs, the fact to broadcast it live, where part of it is the titillation of could he fall? Mm-hmm. That's the only reason people are watching.
Yeah,
I think it's gross.
So your I guess your argument isn't with him being a free solo climber.
No,
it's
I think on
Netflix
buildings
putting it live.
I think on buildings too, I have the argument because I mean, there's lots of people who free solo buildings. There's that French guy who they call Spider-Man or whatever. He does it all the time, so it's not unique to him. And yeah, I think buildings, everyone says technically way easier because there's just natural places to grab. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
But I think it's irresponsible in terms of what it encourages other people to do. So you're basically saying climbing buildings is acceptable. Netflix will broadcast this live. Like, this is a path to money and success and fame. So I think that already, and there's a difference there. I think YouTubers doing it are also irresponsible, but at least there it's kind of like, you need to build your YouTube. Like, this is not a gimme. I think that's tremendously like, I'll put it this way. If I were a parent now and my child dies climbing a building, I'm suing the shit out of Netflix and Alex Honnold. No, I'm not joking.
So, but
you're saying like this is okay, no matter what. Oh, you have normalized the idea of doing that. I think it's disgusting. And then on top of it too, there is no way that anyone tuning in didn't at least have the brief thought of, kind of want to see him fall.
Like, so then how do you feel about like like free solo, like as a documentary of him
I
doing it
think
up El Capitan.
one, it's a documentary, so had he fallen, I know that they said we would have put it out anyway. Maybe they don't, especially depending where he falls, how he falls. Two, if you go and climb a mountain in Yellowstone, a cliff face in Yellowstone, or a mountain somewhere, yes, you definitely put other people at risk because there'll be other people climbing and you could hurt someone else. But the risk of doing so is less. And to a certain extent, you could say, hey, if you're going to go and climb a mountain, one of the risks you have is someone else doing something stupid on the mountain and hurting you. So you need to be aware of those. You've accepted that danger by deciding it. If I'm walking down a street in New York and some fucking asshole falls off the 14th floor and lands on top of me, I didn't accept that level of danger by entering the street. And yeah, he got to do it in as much of a sterile environment as possible because they closed down streets and did whatever to, so that no one else was going to be hurt, probably, if he fell. But that's not what most other people are going to have the luxury of if they try and do something similar. So you're kind of saying, yeah, isn't it cool to climb a building? But now the risk is someone else hurts a lot of other people or puts a lot of other security people at risk of rescuing you midway up a building. I think it's awful. I genuinely think I've lost so much respect for him. This guy who's like part of the attraction and lure of him as a person was like, I shun wealth and fame and the spotlight. I just live in my van and go ahead and do my little bits of climbing. And I don't really care about the money. And I just want to climb things because it's fun. And I do what I do because it's interesting. It's like, oh, and then you took a massive fucking check from Netflix to go and climb a building. Like, you're just as big of a sellout as anybody else. I think it's gross.
Yeah, I don't like that aspect of it. I mean, I have no problem with the documentary because that was, he's not the first person to free solo mountains and climbs and things like that. Uh, and just to have it documented, that's fine. I think it's actually kind of. I thought the documentary was actually really good. But I think that's so different than just having a like live televised like will he won't he like because you're right at the end of the day that's what everyone's thinking is like will he
it's
won't
like
he?
Evel Knievel. It's just like, yeah, it'd be cool if he cleared this. Be also kind of cool if he just dies. Like that's, I kind of just want to see him crash and burn. And again, people may not, no one, look, I'm sure there's some viewers who wanted to see him die. The percentage will be so small, but you don't watch something like that without kind of constantly in your mind being like, oh my God, would he fall? And sort of thinking, wouldn't it be wild to watch him fall? Like, what an insane viewer experience this would be if I now watch a guy fall to his death. And what will they do? Do they cut it? Like, how much is is this a 30-second delay on the feed? Is it a 45-second delay?
They
will
said
I
it
see
was
him?
a delay. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But like, how much of a delay? Will I see him? At what point do they cut it off? Do I see him start to fall and then they cut to black? Do I see him fall a little bit down the building, then it cuts to black? Like what's happening here? I think it's gross. And also, I think the difference
did not think this would rile you up as much.
The other difference too, in his free solo documentary, part of what's amazing about that documentary is the artistry that goes into making the documentary itself, the interviews that they do throughout it, and then also just I mean, it's a beautiful.
Oh yeah, the guy's he's award winning. Oh fuck!
Yeah, I mean, award winning doesn't.
I don't want to butcher his name, but I follow him on Instagram. Like he's an award winning documentary.
Award winning doesn't matter to me. It's not because they may be of award winning people involved in the making of this. Like, it doesn't mean anything. No, but I'm just saying it's not his CV that makes me think it's more of a piece of art. It's the concept that he delivered, which is more of a piece of art, which is not only beautiful landscape that gets captured within the documentary itself, but also just shots where part of it is like, wow, how did he get that? Like, what is the work that went into him getting that angle as he climbed? Whereas this, it's like, yeah, I get it. They just fucking fixed cameras to build this building and other buildings. Some asshole went to the 17th floor and opened a window and put a camera there. Like, I'm sure there were some logistical challenges that I'm downplaying slightly, but realistically, the challenges are nowhere near the same. And I don't need to see the beauty of the skyline of this tall building. Like, as I said, I'm I'm disgusted. I refuse to watch it. I won't even watch a YouTube clip of it. This one, if a YouTube short pops up for me on this, I will just throw my laptop out the window. This is not.
Oh, so you're going to endanger someone outside?
Yeah,
just like you
exactly.
said.
I'll hope he's
and then
underneath.
You'll sue Netflix.
Yes, exactly. They gave me the idea. I was trying to free solo my laptop out the window. Why wasn't this okay?
What else can I bring up that'll rile you up?
I don't know. But like it's kind of like, when Michael Phelps, I think it was Phelps, did the Phelps versus a shark. It was him, and it turned out to be like a timed virtual shark that he was racing. This is like as if Netflix went, let's see if Michael Phelps could beat a shark. Let's actually put a shark in the water. Like, let's do it. Let's actually put it in. Let's like, you like watching the new version of Gladiators? What if instead of them hitting each other with massive padded things on top of pillars, we'll give them axes? Let's do that. Let's see who the real gladiators are now. This is what we're heading towards. It's like a Hunger Games version. It's like so depressing to me and like the state the world is in at the moment. And I think this is so representative of this. You have this gross, massive company that's like, if he dies, think of the new viewers we'll have. Oh, God. And if you don't think for a second that was a conversation that took place in a boardroom somewhere of like, they had to have this conversation because they had to have the conversation, which was, what's the negative effect if he dies? Like, what's the risk on our end? If he dies, what does this do to our brand? Which that means that part of the conversation they had to have was, what's the positive outcome if he dies?
Well,
and if you don't think that conversation took place, you're
I'm sure it took place.
No, I don't mean you specifically, but I mean to our listeners. Like, they had to have the risk assessment, and part of the risk assessment has to be the positive outcome assessment.
I actually don't have much else. I did have actually a quick follow-up to, I think it was our last episode, where you got also riled up about how much money can athletes make, and I forget specifically of who we were talking about. Oh, it was Naomi Osaka coming out. Yeah, yes, parading. And an article popped up about Steph Curry, and it was him in an interview talking about when he took his big contract in 2017. And it was that in 2017, he was going up for like a major contract. And instead of being the highest paid player, he didn't want that or didn't need that, and took a more team-friendly deal, which was $44 million over 4 years. And he said, "One thing my pops always told me is you never count another man's money. It's what you've got and how you take care of it. And if I'm complaining about $44 million over 4 years, then I've got much bigger other issues in my life." So kind of addressing the fact that, like, yeah, I'm making a shit ton of money. I don't need to go out and be like, even though he probably could have, it was his time to then be the highest paid NBA player. He took the slightly lesser contract and said, yeah, like, you'd be stupid to say it's a problem.
Yeah, and that's the sort of Tom Brady approach, right? I'll say, just so listeners don't think, I guess, yeah, I get that. The argument would be, part of the financial consideration for Steph Curry there is, I take less money in my contract from the Warriors, but then if we win multiple championships, I make more money from my endorsements. So actually, like, this is a calculated move where in the short term, it feels like I'm hurting my net worth, but actually I'm massively benefiting it. And it's not like Steph Curry. If Steph Curry had been in what I was advocating, Steph Curry would have come out and said, "Do you know what? The salary cap's way too high. This is insane. We got guys in the NBA earning $50 million a year who should probably be earning $15 million a year. And in my attempts to lower the salary cap, I am not going to accept any contract above $25 million a year, which is, I think I'm the best player in the league. And I think that's the most the best player in the league should get paid." Like, and then on top of it would have gone, "Do you know what? I'll have a shoe deal. And I'll have, like, I don't know, a couple of other things I'm in, but I'm not going to do Steph Curry endorsing like payday loans. I'm not going to do Steph Curry like trying to sell me,
Steph Curry does payday loans.
I don't know. I don't know everything.
Oh.
Steph Curry might be. I mean, I know he earns huge amounts from his endorsements. He may. I don't know. I don't see Steph Curry that much on stuff, but I don't know. He has his own
He was
line
on
of
Subway commercials.
tofu or something. That's okay. I'm not saying athletes shouldn't do endorsements, but as I said, I don't think athletes should do. I think we should almost have a rule of like you can endorse 5 things, and that's it. And once you've done your 5, you're done. Like the Shaq thing, where
or do you
Shaq's
have
just everywhere.
the Ron Swanson rule, where he only endorses products he 100% supports and uses?
Well, I definitely think that
Which
should be true.
his
I like
2, I
want
forget what his
proof.
2 are. It's the trimmers, like he uses the U.S. Army issued, like hair trimmers and something else. I can't remember what the other thing is.
I think that's true. But I mean, even then, you could tell me, yeah, this is the toothbrush I use, so I will endorse it. It's like, I don't need to know which toothbrush Steph Curry uses. Even if he tells me it's the best toothbrush he's ever had. That's
Now,
cool.
what about you, though? I mean, our listeners know that you have a magic toothbrush. So
Yeah.
don't you
Have I
think it's
ever
worth
have I ever
endorsing?
revealed the brand? Have I ever?
Yeah, exactly.
I've
But if you could get endorsed by them, would you?
If it fits within my 5 endorsements, it's okay. If my paddle career really takes off, I'll make room now. If my paddle career if I go pro and the endorsements are flooding in, because everyone knows paddle players just get the most endorsements out of anybody, I'll allow myself to have an endorsement deal with the company providing my clothes and equipment that I play with, which I'm going to say is
Okay.
probably going to have to be 2. So that's 2 of my 5 done. I will do my toothbrush. That's allowed. Something travel related, because fine, you're an athlete in that line of work. You do a lot of travel.
I'll
So
get you
if
in
you want to,
contact with Delta.
so if it's an airline or a hotel group or something, it feels like a natural fit. And then I think that's it. That's all paddle will allow me, or maybe like a
Something
sports,
recovery related.
like a sports drink. If
Yeah.
Gatorade wants to endorse me, then fine, that's okay
Nah,
too.
you can do better than Gatorade. Gatorade's so barbaric nowadays. But I think this could be your
Now, out of
spin.
spite, I'm doing Gatorade. All right.
Fine, you know what? It's not going to help you because Gatorade's fucking shit. They
All right.
refuse
Well,
to
let's see.
update their
Let's
fucking
see.
formulas.
Let's see who wants to endorse your 0-6 pickleball tournament career. Then we'll see. When Gatorade comes
I
knocking, let's see if you say no.
I think your paddle persona should be like the toothbrush guy. Like if you're down 3, you should go like take a timeout, run over and just like take a few quick brushes of your toothbrush, put it back, and then pray to God every time that you actually win. And then it could be your thing. That could really
Wow.
solidify you as the toothbrush guy.
First of all, there's no timeouts, I don't think. So that might be my first issue. But
Then you lose a point. That's how important it is. You say like,
okay.
go ahead, you can serve. I've got to get a few quick brushes in.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. We'll see if next episode I feel confident that the endorsements are about to start flowing.
I hope you like fucking demolish the instructor.
I don't think I play the instructor. I think I play. This is to get back to your mindset question. This is actually where my optimism comes in, because I think I'm going to be going through the evaluation against a lot of other people who are starting. In my mind, I'm already telling myself, I think I'm going to be way better than these people.
Now are you like no holds bar? Like there's going to
Yeah.
be no courtesy. Like
No.
you're in there and you're not even telling them your name. Like, oh hi, I'm
have to sign
Susie.
up.
Oh really, Susie? Go fuck yourself. Get in your corner.
I have to sign up. I already know. So the process is limited to 16 players, which feels like a lot. And I need to be there an hour beforehand to sign in.
Oh, it's going to be doubles, I bet.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. Well, just
It's
push your opponent, push your teammate out of the way.
It's a double
Just tell him
sport.
like, just fuck off.
But
Just keep like jumping in front of them. Don't let them hit.
This is where I could claim, because then in the background, the only thing that did cross my mind was as I go, I've played a lot of pickleball, like, because that's just a complete unknown territory for them. So like, whereas if I say tennis, they can evaluate what level I got to in tennis pretty immediately. But I could be like former professional pickleball player. How do you think that's gonna? How do you think that's translating to the world of paddle?
They're gonna say, "Oh, then you are at best a below average tennis player,
beginner level." Yeah. First, we're gonna have to teach you how to play tennis. Then we'll teach you how to play paddle.
Yeah. Disregard everything you've done on the pickleball courts. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. I guess that will call it a day.
Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.